A lot of people, when they hear my testimony, the first thing they think is I was raised in a family that wasn't a good family. I was raised in a family that was born-again Christian. My mom, my dad, but I'm the one that made some bad choices, and I started making them at a very young age. I started smoking dope at 11 years old, started doing hard drugs at 13, putting a needle in my arm at 15 years old, and my family had nothing to do with any of that. I mean, I chose to go that route. Started selling drugs, went from selling drugs to being a shotgunner for drug deals, like a hired gun, you know. So I'd done a lot of bad things over the years, a lot, you know, and then it kept getting deeper and deeper, you know. I could never rob a store or anything because my dad would kill me, you know. But I started robbing drug dealers.
I've done a lot of things that I ain't proud of. Hurt a lot of people.
You can't keep going the way you've been going.
Help me.
In 1985, I was in a really bad bar fight in Florida, and I almost got shot that night. And I come home, I told my wife, I said, we're moving. And my wife says, what? And I said, we're moving out of here. And she said, why? And I said, well, somebody's going to end up killing me, and I'm going to die for no reason. And I said, we're moving. So we moved back to my hometown in Pennsylvania. My wife immediately started going to church with my mom. Her and my mom almost like started being best friends. My mom's born again, you know, and all her life she was born again. So I started getting angry with God. It was like God just stole my woman. You know, my woman was still there cooking, washing the clothes, but now God's getting all of the attention. And I was literally getting angry with God. And so it went on for almost 2 years, and finally she just kept asking me all the time, Sam, why don't you come to church with me, come to church. So sometimes us men will agree to do something just to get you women to be quiet. So anyways, there was a guy from South Africa that was preaching at the church. So I went in to hear this guy, and he gave an altar call, and I didn't get up. There was no way I would get up. And he come walking back to me, and he said, you know, the power of God is all over you. What is your problem? I broke in the back seat of this Assembly of God church. I started weeping, gave my heart to the Lord. They were in the middle of a camp meeting going on there. And well, anyways, I went back the next night. Well, the next night, this preacher, you know, gave an altar call, and I was already setting up front the second night, you know, because I wanted a little bit more what I got the first night. So when he gave the altar call, I just jumped right up. Well, the man started prophesying over me. Well, the more he would prophesy, the madder I got. And I figured there's a 48-hour clause when you first get saved, you can beat a preacher up. No, I just made that up. But anyways, I figured I'm gonna find this guy after church, and I'm gonna beat him up outside. So I waited outside of the church. The preacher come walking through the door. I started cursing him. I started cussing at him, telling him, don't you tell me I'm going to Africa, because he was prophesying over me that I was going to Africa, and this was June of 1992, that I was going to be in a war. Everything that's happening in my life now is what he was prophesying. And I wasn't going to Africa. So anyways, when I cursed him, told him what I was going to do, all he did was looked at me and he said, we'll see. Well, that was in 1992, June. And the end of 98, first part of 99, I find myself in Sudan, Africa.
I'm here today to talk to you about families just like yours, half a world away, that desperately need your help.
I was thinking maybe I could go over there.
Africa?
Reckon they can do with all the help they can get.
I'll be back before you know it.
The biggest problem in South Sudan right now is the president of Northern Sudan, Bashir. People need to realize that this is the man that had war crimes charges put up on him, that he's caused a genocide in Darfur. He has had the war crime charges put on him, and he threw him down and he laughed. This man needs to be brought to justice. So my hope is that what is going on in other countries where people is tired of the presidents harming the country, where they're going to step in and say, we want you out.
You in the army or something?
We are freedom fighters.
I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. I want to go into Sudan this weekend. Need someone to show me around.
This is a war zone. If you stay here, you're going to get killed.
It's safer to sleep here than in their own homes.
They ain't sleeping out here.
There are too many. You can't help them all.
Gotta take as many as we can. Tell the other ones we'll come back later.
I need the money for an extra vehicle so that I can save some children.
Calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down!
I have an organization that is worldwide, Angels of East Africa. And so Angels of East Africa, I mean, is in South Sudan. We're working in Uganda. I'm working in Ethiopia. Anywhere that we can rescue a child is where we're working. You know, the big thing was when I was in that bar fight in Florida and almost got killed. I knew then that my life was going to end in a very violent act, and I was going to die for nothing. I don't have a problem with dying, but I have a problem with what I'm going to die for. And so I wanted just to get out of that. And I help a lot of people to give them a second chance in life. But if you want them to be successful, the first thing you got to do is relocate that person. Get them out of the lifestyle that they were living into a new lifestyle again. In the U.S., we have a church in a campground in Pennsylvania. So we work with hard, troubled youth. Eventually, our campground is going to be set up to bring in some of the hardest core youth around the U.S., to bring them in for a week, maybe on up to like 2 weeks. And the people that's going to be working with the youth is going to be people like me, people that was almost spent their life in prison and stuff. And a lot of guys that I run with have spent 10 years, 20 years in prison. These are the same guys that's going to work with OK the Troubled Youth, using our testimonies in order to change your life. Shekinah Fellowship is the name of our church, and we got several cabins. We're on 40-some acres, and then we got 20 acres behind it, so it's like 60-some acres in the middle of the woods, you know. So there's ponds there for fishing, boating for the kids. If you would get the opportunity just to come to our church, you would see how many lives that we reach here in the U.S. If you started interviewing the church, you would find out that there's people that were drug addicts, drug dealers, alcoholics in our church. And the thing about us is we don't give up on anyone. The only way, and we still won't give up on you, but the only way that we're going to forget about you is if you walk away from us. But otherwise, it doesn't matter if you've messed up. It don't matter the bad things that you've done. We're always there for the people. And when you hear the stories from some of these people, you'll see that our church is like a second chance church. It's kind of all about, you know, giving that person that second chance. Something that I say in about every interview, that I don't want people to think that this movie is about Sam Childers or about rescuing children in Africa. This movie, after you watch it, it's all about you. What are you going to do now? And that's what I want people to walk out of the theater thinking about, not Sam Childers, but about their self. What am I going to do now to make a difference? What am I going to fully make a commitment to? And I believe that there's children around the world. Is there problems inside of Sudan? Absolutely. There's serious problems in Sudan right now to this day. They got their independence now, but they're building an infrastructure from nothing, you know. But I believe that there's children around the world, and if God moves on you to work in the U.S., to work in China, Thailand, wherever He moves on you to work at, do your very best.
That's the orphanage that I'm going to build in Sudan.
They talk about you, the children.
Just trying to help these people. Same as you.
The entire rebel army has put a bounty on your head.
I must be doing something right.
You burn it down. Ain't nothing left. It's over.
Get off your butt and build it again. You hear me?
I don't know why God chose me, you know. But you got to remember, God chose all of us. Now, are you willing to go down the road that I had to go all these years for God to literally take you somewhere to the top. You know, people only see me now in the theaters, but they didn't see the past 15 years of all the hardship I went through, all the tears. They didn't see all the pain. They didn't see me not being around my daughter for 15 years of her life. I got a grandbaby now that I hardly ever get to hold. You know, so people don't see all the sacrifice. They only see some of the glory and think it's always been like that, but it hasn't been. But I guarantee you, no matter who you are, if you're willing to go through that sacrifice, God will take you to the same place that He's taken me.
Sam, wait!
She will wait and get you!
This place does not need more guns.
Why don't you fight the evil in this place your way and let me fight it mine? Helping you kids is about the only good thing I've ever done in this life. You got no idea what I'm saying, do you?